That's the trouble they do. And then they put it on YouTube.
Okay, bang away.
The June 9th, 2016 Sangerville Selectmen's meeting is called to order, 6:30 p.m. Present is Melissa Randall, Tom Carone, Dale Gray being absent with a family emergency, and the town manager, Dr. Kenneth Woodbury. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Tom, you do it?
Yeah.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, item 3, additions to the agenda. Mr. Woodbury.
Cemetery deed, and it is under new business, E, and the consent items, the additions 90 through 96.
Okay, item 4, open forum, half hour limit, 5 minutes a person. Anybody? Go ahead.
Don't be so discouraged.
I know what you're going to say. So go.
Really?
You're going to talk about that school board budget.
I got no choice in the matter. That's what I got to talk about. Just simple reminder that everybody don't forget to vote next Tuesday. And vote your conscience. And I will suggest that I don't think the school board needs that much money. So I'm saying vote it down, but that's my personal opinion. And anybody got any questions to me about the school board?
Wasn't part of it last year they had 300,000 carry forward, and this year they don't. So when you look at the revenue side, that seems like a lot of what the increase is.
Well,
is that true or
no?
No.
The increase of almost 500,000 in the original budget as presented was due to there was a bit increases, was good for about 200,000 increase over last year, 250,000, and the additional 250,000 was due to the reduction in state funds. They scaled us, the state dropped us back from 49 or 50% back to 47%.
I thought there was a carry forward of 300,000.
That was a year ago. That carry forward was used in the
Right.
budget.
Right. But this year we have to make that up because they're not carrying forward anything, right? I guess that's my point.
Yeah, there's no X surplus there to help accommodate the cost. Problem is we keep reducing enrollment, but the budget keeps going up, and that's the difficult thing for me to grasp. So, anybody else got any questions or comments for me?
Well, I know it's open forum, but not taking a side on the budget, I'd like to have the town manager just say what he knows, the effect that it's going to have with the budget that's proposed. You had a number on the increase for us.
It's 1.3 mils overall. However, because we budget for we're a calendar year, and they're on a July 1st to June 30th, the effect on us is we get half a whack, and then next year we get the full. In what I have in the budget, the difference between what I carry in the budget, what I anticipated, and what the effect would be on our budget for this year, just this year, would be around $24,000.
Additional.
I'm off by about $24,000, so that's a third of a mil.
So we're looking for somebody with a crystal ball.
So it needs to go down and shake out so we can get back to where I had anticipated. So we have a third of a mil to get rid of.
At least.
Well, yeah, for us.
Jimmy, do you have something to say?
The only thing I was going to say before he just to make sure nay or yay. As I told you folks when he was still a selectman, that these towns are going to have to make some very serious decisions in the near future. And you see what I'm talking about. The state is at 46.7%. We're supposed to be at 55.
Yeah, never
So-
made it.
And they asked us to raise an additional, before we even looked at the budget, from zero balance, or zero, starting at zero to make it grow. I say grow, but make it start out in November. We knew that we had to raise $13,000 to lose $250,000 from last year's budget. So there, you're already in the hole, almost $300,000 right from the start.
Yeah,
And we do not have any carry forward.
yeah. What was, do you know what inflation was this year? Inflation, do you know what inflation was this year?
The contract to the teachers was 2%.
Okay,
Some of those, because of steps and other things, it can be more, as you know, that ball game.
yeah,
But they're under contract. I do believe, I don't want to speak out of turn, but I do believe that if this does not pass, we are going to ask the teachers to open their contract. And if they say no, they can't. They don't have to. But we are going to look at that option.
okay. So that creates a huge problem for you.
Well, like Bill said, just before you start, just by the contracts and the insurances that you are owed to those people was about that $250,000 figure.
Okay,
The overall budget, other than those two pieces, was only like $80,000 difference from last year to this year. But because of those other gaps you had to fill with the insurance, the raises, and the $250 you lost in the state, that's where that big number came from.
I get it,
Yeah.
yeah.
No, so the original budget committee work was very serious, and because you only had such a very small increase from last year's budget, you've done a hell of a job, I think, but
Well,
again,
every town is facing the same thing. The
Oh,
only
yeah.
town that doesn't seem to be hurting anybody is Dover. There seems to fly like nothing. They had 20 people at their public vote for them.
They admitted
And
defeating
they
Dover
passed,
long
it took less
ago.
than 20 minutes to pass a $16 million budget. We couldn't even pass a $6 million budget.
It's too bad that, given that we have a rather unique opportunity with a vacancy in Dover for superintendent, that you can't have one
Well,
school district.
if I may, can I jump in there? We
As soon
did
as-
try that.
As soon as I finish.
Yeah.
With one superintendent, considering there's only one high school between the two, then you'd only have one office, one superintendent. Of course, probably should go county anyway, but I mean,
It scares me when he says that,
There's no
because he's
sharing.
got a superintendent's letter, and I don't want to lose him.
so it's, go ahead.
We did approach Dover, and we did approach Dexter. We heard back from Dover back in, I want to say February. But we got snowed out, and then budget things, meetings get more and more each month because you get closer to trying to finalize your numbers in each district. But when we finally sat down with Dover, they'd already hired a superintendent, and they said, we're happy where we are, we're not interested. So we did try. Dexter never even answered us. So I don't know what other, we did try that.
Well,
I don't know if
we
she's
are.
gonna, we have not met since the budget got turned down a week ago. We're scheduled to meet next Wednesday. So. But I do definitely recommend everybody to go out and vote, nay or yay. I'm not telling everybody which way to vote, it's your choice, but please get out and vote.
Now, in the budget that was passed, that's presented to the voters on Tuesday, can, there's $100,000 or so taken out of the administration line, and almost an equal amount added in the instruction line. In order to pay the superintendent for the coming year, can you take money from one section and put it into another?
You can, I think it's 5%, but again, don't
Oh, that's
quote
all,
me.
okay.
I know that even though the overall money, Ken, that got voted out was about 120,000, we've got to technically get rid of or whatever, find where to take it away. I'm not sure where that's going to come from. You've got to have a superintendent. That's mandatory. It doesn't tell you 100%. You could have 80, 50, whatever. And I know we have talked about that. What we might want to do that way is, plan B, if you will, in the coming years.
Yeah, Greenville's finally down to half a superintendent. They probably
Well,
do
and we reached
four.
out, we were gonna reach out to them, but then they hired the gentleman from Orono
Yeah.
as we were getting ready to about the same time we reached out to Dover, we reached out to them because we knew that and we already do bus service for them.
Yeah.
So we thought it was a great fit that we might be able to,
Yeah, the time to do it is when someone's got a vacancy
Yeah.
and that, you're not,
and unfortunately, we didn't jump quick enough. So, but
So, okay, anybody else? All right, let's move on to item 5, communication.
the PCEDC quarterly meeting is a week from Monday, and I will be going, and Tom has already signed up to go. I don't know if there's anyone else that wants to go, and
It's open to the public.
yes.
Anybody
Anyone's
$20.
Anyone's got $20, is,
get in there.
don't even have to stay for supper, you just go for the meeting and leave.
Especially if you have dietary restrictions.
There must be a salad there for you somewhere.
Plenty of salad.
Item 6, approval of selectmen's minutes. May 10th, 2016 select board minutes. I make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
Any discussion?
I just want to make sure there was one person missing on the roster. That was Kathy Starbird that was there.
Did we get her?
Did you, I don't know if that got on the amended, the initial version from 512. Didn't have her on the roster. I thought I had.
Okay, I'll put her on.
Yeah,
So
Kathy
that, who was that?
Starbird.
That was,
Kathy Starbird.
is that with a C or a K?
And also on the same minutes, item 3K, reference to the dance, it says the benefit to the fire department, and it actually should be to the Friends of Sangerville.
I have Friends of the Sangerville.
Oh, you did, correct, okay,
Yeah,
all right,
that's-
thank you. That's all I have.
Okay, let's take a vote.
Yep.
With the amendments?
Yep,
Yes? The amendment. Okay.
2-0.
All right, the May 26, 2016 special select board
Okay, here,
meeting.
you want to sign it?
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Any discussion?
Nope.
Take a vote. Okay, that one's good too.
It's 5/26. Okay, sign.
All right, moving on to item 7, unfinished business, Spirit of America Foundation tribute resolution.
Okay, could I read it, please?
Oh, please.
Motion we strike.
I'll play the violin in the background while we do this.
The Spirit of America Foundation tribute. Whereas Tom F. Carone has been a select board member for the town of Sangerville for over 6 years, and whereas Thomas F. Carone has volunteered his time over many years serving as a Grange member, and whereas Thomas F. Carone has volunteered in service to the Sangerville Historical Society over the years, and whereas Thomas F. Carone served as a member and volunteer for the Sangerville Bicentennial Committee, and whereas Thomas F. Carone has helped organize the annual Sangerville Volunteer Days over the years, now therefore be it resolved that Thomas F. Carone has been selected as the recipient of the 2016 Spirit of America Foundation Tribute.
Make a motion to approve. Second it, there's nobody else. Second it and just get it done with because you're just putting it off.
If it's improper, I'll second it.
Okay, let's take a vote and vote for yourself because Dale would too anyway, so just do it.
Sounds like coercion.
It is.
Darn quick. Now, let me just say, though, that even minus without Dale here and others that I know that are in this room, there are other people that help out in a number of different ways also for the good of the town. So it's not, I feel reluctant in getting some kind of accolades just for myself because there are others in town that
Well,
do
it was
things.
your turn.
Well,
Just be
Well, we
thankful.
decided when we started it, we would set the bar high. You're here every day and you volunteer every day. And there isn't anybody else around who does that, even with your $1.86 or whatever it is.
This was kind of sprung on us at
Yeah,
the last
right.
minute to do this.
Right.
They've added Piscataquis County
Right.
to the counties that they do. So now in the future, we can come up maybe with a committee to
Right, there should be a
look at
committee to
this.
figure
and,
this out
you know,
every year,
and then
rather
we
than,
can set the
Yeah.
bar higher.
right.
But for now,
We'll get more out of Tom next year, we'll just grind him into the ground.
for now, we'll let him squeeze under. You want to sign, please?
I have to sign it too.
You have to sign your own resolution,
It's like signing your own death certificate.
but you get a dinner out of it, look at it that way.
Yeah. they'll
You
have
can
a
take, you can
vegetable.
take Ken as your date.
Vegetables.
All right, so moving along, the roadside mowing bids.
The next, just so people know, because Alan Clark declined to accept the roadside mowing bid because of the cost of insurance, we need to go and look at the others. The next bidder, the next lowest bidder is Orman Gray for $1,700. I called him to see that if, would he hold that price, and he said he would. The others are pretty close, 1725, 1720, 1760. But Orman is a resident of Sangerville, and he's the lowest qualified bidder still here.
Anything you want to say?
The only question I have is what he has for equipment. I'm not familiar with the machinery that he has, unless he had something on his...
He didn't say.
Got a nice tractor.
the Mahindra sitting in the front yard.
Well, if we went with the local guy and the lowest bid, if we didn't like the job he did, we don't have to hire him again next year.
No.
Because I've
Okay, I
heard,
mean, that-
I've
no,
heard,
that's-
I've heard you guys go back and forth on flail versus sickle bar, and there's good with this one and good with that one, so
Yeah.
I make a motion that we go with Orman Gray.
Okay, I'll second it.
Any further discussion?
No.
Vote? We're going with Orman Gray.
You'll notify him.
Yeah.
Can I just ask a question? Why was the other guy at $900? Why was he so low?
No insurance. Seriously.
I guess,
Well,
I didn't know if he was like retired and just kind of going with the
No, he
hobby.
didn't realize he
Yeah,
had to
that-
have insurance to do it.
I just want to make one comment about the mowing. I'd like to, as we did with Alan Clark, some kind of an idea when it was going to be done. We weren't going to be having his services sometime in October.
yeah. I don't know,
Okay.
when I call him tomorrow.
Okay, so a
I'll get-
reasonable
Yeah.
date. Okay. All
Do
right.
you have a date that you consider that it
Well, the
should
other
be done
fellow
by?
was somewhere end of July, beginning of August.
Before the stuff
So-
goes to seed, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, disqualifying construction, Flint Construction's bid for winter sand award J.A. Jackson and Sons contracts,
So
item
there
C.
should be two separate motions. One is to disqualify Flint Construction's bid, so that one's out of the way.
Make a motion to disqualify Flint Construction bid.
I'll second it to get it into discussion.
Discussion.
Okay. We tabled that the first time around. And now I guess this next proposal is to just go ahead and disqualify him and then accept another contractual offer, which I don't technically consider as a bid. And according to the policy that was instituted September 9th, 2014 by the Select Board, states it is the policy of the town of Sangerville that if a work project cannot be done in-house and will require contracted services that may reasonably be expected to cost the town in excess of $10,000, competitive bids will be sought. I don't feel comfortable with the way this is going, and I would, for the sake of discussion, I'd like to make a recommendation that we put the sand out to bid again, I know it's an incurred cost to the town for the advertising and the publication costs, but seeing as how we do have a policy that's been in effect for, almost 2 years here, I'd recommend that we go through the proper measures to go ahead and publicize it as a bid and have bids to be re.
Okay. We did advertise for bids, and that's the bid that we got. Since the contractor's work is unacceptable because of too many rocks in the sand, and since you have disqualified him, the next step is, what do you do next? To go out for a rebid is improper. And what you do next is you negotiate a bid. Since you've already advertised and you've opened the bid, then everybody knows what the price is. That's why when a bid has been disqualified or you don't receive any bids, you are then free to negotiate. And that's what this is. This is a
And you got that
negotiated
information from-
contract, and this was cleared through MMA.
Well, I also disagree with the fact that we disqualified. The only thing we did was table it.
Well, we haven't
You did.
disqualified yet, we're
Correct.
debating that
Well,
right now.
The town manager said that we disqualified it.
Well,
I just want to make that point clear.
If you, that's what the motion is, to disqualify.
That's right. Right. But we haven't done that yet.
Correct.
Okay.
But on the point of what do we do next if we disqualify the bidder, then you go to a negotiated bid. And the policy that you just read only states that we advertise for bid, which we did. It does not then go on to say, if you don't get a qualified bidder, then you just keep bidding and bidding and bidding until you get one.
Right. We're not gonna get Haley this year, are we?
In 18 years as a CEO, I have never re-advertised a bid if we didn't get a qualified bidder. I've always gone to negotiate. Now, this has been in other states, and that's why I checked with MMA to make sure that we didn't have to rebid, and MMA was that that's the proper way to do it, is that you're free to negotiate.
Here again, unless it's a statute quoted by MMA, it's just an opinion from them, and I differ with their opinion.
Yeah,
Well, since we're not gonna get a vote, go ahead, Jim.
Can you negotiate with Flint if it was too big of rocks?
we did this, we have done this repeatedly.
Okay, I'm new, so I was just
This,
asking.
okay, now, what, do we have a date, a completion date for when Mr. Jackson's gonna get the sand pile screened?
No, I assume you'll get it done before.
So, I mean, part of the reason that we voted to have the pile screened was this was measuring the snake. You know, we were gonna see, we've had these complaints for 3 years, and we were gonna finally get to the bottom of the snake.
If you've had it for 3 years, I've only done it for the last 2 years.
2 years.
What?
I said three, I
Chummy
meant
wanted, had the bid 3 years ago.
3 years ago, so 2 years.
Yeah.
So,
I find it awful funny that Sangerville, out of the 3 towns that I support sand with, is the only one that has rocks.
that's why we're paying $1 a yard to get the sand re-screened, to see what the truth of it is. We want the tailings pile saved, select board's gonna look at it, and we're gonna decide when we look at it if there was a problem. We've had these allegations going on and on by several people, and it's time to get to the bottom of it. It's not fair for your business, and it's not fair for us to be accused all the time of ignoring other people because out of spite, I guess, is what the under allegation is. So we want to see what the truth of it is, and that's good for you, and it's good for us. Go ahead.
May I make a suggestion that, and when we go out to bid it in the future, that we put in the ad that the winter sand be screened?
It was.
That Does it say that it should be screened to?
have
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, yeah,
Yes.
it said that all
Okay.
along, said that all along.
Yeah, if I could.
Go
I'd
ahead.
just like to say, there's another benefit to putting it out to bid again, even though Mr. Flint's bid has already been exposed to the public and to other contractors. If you put it out to bid again, he doesn't necessarily, he can put another bid in, and it might be even lower than, I'm not trying to plant anything for you there, but I'm just
That's why it's
saying, it might
That's
be a
why it's improper,
consideration.
but that's exactly why it's improper, because you've undercut his bid.
No,
Only if we
That's-
disqualify,
We're discussing whether we're gonna disqualify or not,
right.
okay? We're just discussing if we're gonna disqualify. Now, if you and I can't come to terms on this, it's tabled until Dale gets back to break the tie. Okay? And in that amount of time, I would hope that Mr. Jackson could take his screen over there and get it screened, and we would know the truth.
Well, that's another part.
You know, because when we came in that day, We-
That process will still have to
we
be done
weren't
regardless of
even
what we do.
supposed to be having a selectmen's meeting that day, and we found ourselves in that conundrum. And when we walked in the door, there was a pickup truck with a pile of rocks in the back of it that purportedly came out of the sand pile, and they were big rocks, right? And this is,
There.
I'm telling you, sitting there. I know, but you were chairman of the select board long enough to know to hear the pain here, okay? Okay? I walked in the door and I said, I feel sandbagged, right?
Oh, yeah.
All right. So,
Let me share something with you
okay.
that, not this year, but the winter before. I'd been out of town, I'm not familiar with what was going on. And I come into town and I go up what we call the hill by the Catholic Church, okay? And the first thing out of my mouth, I said, where'd they get that gravel? Okay, and I had, that's the first, I didn't know that they came from Flint or Hook, but it wasn't half-inch minus. Okay, that's just my observation. Okay, I think it's time to put it to rest.
Right, and this is our attempt with screening and everything to put it to rest.
And the screening will be at $1.
A yard, so
A
that's
yard.
on top of, so if we have to screen on top of it, that makes the Flint gravel much more, or the Flint sand much more expensive than the Jackson sand. So we got, we're stuck. We really truly feel stuck on this one.
Well, it's time for you to stop taking the abuse.
Exactly.
Okay, that you and the public work people, it's time to stop taking the abuse. And if this is gonna put an end to it,
I think so. We're hoping this is a way to put an end
I
to
can
it.
understand Mr. Carone's concerns. Ken makes a very good point. Okay, so I'm glad I'm not in your position, okay?
You felt pain before, have you?
Give
Okay.
you pain,
Many
deal
things.
with it.
All right, so you and I are not gonna come to terms on this one, are we?
I mean, at $9 a yard, a cubic yard, or 1,800 cubic yards, it's $16,200. This isn't just a small amount over $10,000, which is the threshold that we have a policy on.
Well, and then the secondary concern with this is that our threshold is $10,000. Now, we've got half a sand pile left over from last winter because it was an easy winter, thank God, right? So, and also last winter in town, they were only spreading salt, which is its own issue all on its own.
Yeah.
So.
The difference is 25 cents a yard.
Right, but we won't know until the pile's screened exactly how much, they were telling us that when they screen it, there's a clicker on the loader where we can, per bucket load, we can calculate out the tonnage without having to bring anybody in to scale the pile and guess and have multiple people with multiple ideas. So I think our first step really should be screen the pile and see what we've got going and then work from there. Because you and I are not gonna, you obviously are totally uncomfortable with this.
So-
Dale's not here to break a tie, so
So how do you want to do this then?
Table it.
We'll table the motion on disqualifying Flint
table
for
it
now.
till we get the
But-
pile, and we'll have a special selectmen's meeting where we'll all go up and we'll view the pile, the tailings together, and it's all done.
Okay. So tonight, you don't want to make a motion, or do we want to make a
I
motion?
did make a motion, you seconded
on-
it.
But I'm talking about on screening the sand, because the leftover sand that's in the
We've
pile
already
now.
done that. We've instructed the manager to hire somebody to screen the sand, and he's done it.
Okay. And until the full board takes the vote on the bid situation, the only thing that's gonna be done to that sand up there is to have
Screen.
Jackson Excavating screen it.
He's willing to take his,
Okay.
we asked Newt if he would do it. He didn't want to do it
Right.
because he didn't want to put salt through his vibrating screen.
Yeah. Okay.
So that leaves Jackson. So
Okay.
we
And
make
whenever he gets around to it.
well, that's the thing too. If he wants a contract or anybody goes, he needs to get on it. And then apparently there's an issue out there about end dates and when people are going to perform things. Needs to be done sooner than later. You were with me on that one?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, so we have a motion, we have a second,
So
done with discussion.
take a vote. Yes? One? No?
Nope.
So we're tied. We can't do anything.
So the motion failed because it's
Okay, make a
tied.
motion to table.
Well, it's already tabled.
So, okay, that's tabled.
Okay.
So the next thing we can't do anything on because we don't. So we're done for tonight on that one.
Yep.
All right.
So at the special select board meeting, we'll take care of both of those issues then.
Well, it depends on the timing. If we don't need a special
We just
meeting and
need
have a
to
regular
advertise
coming
that
up.
we're gonna go up and look at the tailings pile because all three of us are gonna be in one spot talking
Yeah.
about one thing.
Okay. All right.
That will have to be a special.
Right.
Okay.
And whenever the manager can make that happen,
So we'll see whenever he gets it screened.
and he needs to be communicated with, just that the sooner he gets it done, the happier we're all gonna be. All right, so moving on, item 8, new business, preview of preliminary state valuation report. There's a fun one.
Our evaluation declined.
How much?
Okay. Bring it. We, 2015, 79,900,000, 2016, 79,300,000, 79,300,000, 2017, 76,800,000.
Oh, wow.
The amount of change is $2,500,000, or 3.15%.
Bill?
Why the reduction? Is first off, let me ask you this. Does that include, or does that reflect the, what I gonna call it, with the 10 to 15 to 20?
Yeah, I think so, yes, because that's the state evaluation. The municipal evaluation, we were at 78,816, then we went to 79,284,450, and then there's,
How many years has it been
Then
since
they
they
don't.
evaluated us, since they valued us? Do we know?
no,
Well, they probably sit there and push figures every year.
They do it every year?
Imagine, at least in the office, the desk jockeys.
that's the taxable, the taxable.
So that, of course, makes the mill worth less.
Yep.
Which pushes the mill rate higher because the mill's worth less.
You've all got a copy.
Yeah,
Yeah, I did.
That affects your school budget too.
that's exactly right.
Well, of course.
So like, what happens to like Abbott? Don't they always complain like Piper Pond drives their evaluation up every year or something?
No, that's happened.
We got two ponds here. We got part of Mahanic and we've got Center Pond. So, but actually, they were a great boon to us because they give us a lot of money for people who own property down there and really aren't here most of the year. So. Gotta love that.
The ones that want to launch their boats. and they can't.
Well, we'll tend to them tonight too. All right. Anything else about the
No, just,
valuation?
there's nothing to do about it.
All right, let's get to the
Speaking
Center
of
Pond
boat
boat launching. We're launching boats now.
Okay. Center Pond
I still haven't gotten down there to look at
boat
it.
launch.
You and Peter did.
He's got a
Yes.
picture on his phone that tells 1,000 words.
I have two photos
You see the photos, it's worth it.
of my lovely color printer.
Hey, frivolous thing you have there.
chair I use and the desk I use is mine.
Well, you wouldn't expect us to provide that for you.
No.
So now the boat docks go on what side?
Right-hand side,
On the right-hand side?
yeah.
And there was a problem. So where were people getting stuck supposedly?
It's
Where
really
somebody
steep.
had to get
Well,
Can't you
It's
see,
pulled
drops.
out?
can't you see the,
Oh, I look at this, it doesn't look any worse than the boat launch area down at the cove here in Dover.
the boats are hung
Chamber of
hung
may
out?
I share, Tom? I actually was down there the other day, not on that mission. The beginning of the boat ramp before you get to the water is very abrupt. In fact, I wouldn't try to put my old pickup. Okay, does that tell you how sad it
Okay,
is?
enough of that.
Okay, so I know exactly what it looks like. I don't have to look at that picture.
Okay. And the remedial process
You can't.
scheduled for
Sticks way up, I mean, way up.
Okay, you ready?
sometime this summer or?
The cost to repair the boat ramp is $1,500 for the quicker fix, and for a long-term fix around, 10 years or so, is to pour a concrete ramp, and that would be $3,100.
And that's a permit by rule that Peter would walk through?
I will write the permit by rule,
You would write the permit by rule?
yeah. I did ask Dale, I've gone over this agenda,
And what's Dale have to say about that one?
$3,100
You like the,
permanent.
I like the permanent fix too. Tom, what do you like?
See, there's where you get hung up.
Oh, yeah, that's
Fix
that's
it once
very
instead of
abrupt right
keep
there.
doctoring it up each year.
Right,
Now, what
because
do
you
you wanna
know,
put the concrete
sooner or
way
later,
up
it's
in?
not gonna get
Yeah,
doctored
they
up and that's gonna be a
Gotta
big
take
bill.
this out.
Yes.
That or
Yeah,
just
yeah, bring it up.
go above what the cost
That needs
is.
to be excavated under and
Oh,
brought
yeah.
back
Now,
down.
get
get done.
done.
Yep.
Yeah.
What about the road to the boat launch?
That's a different
That's
issue.
another issue.
But
Not
you've
on-
We're not ready
Another
for
issue
that.
that's not on the agenda
Not
tonight.
on the agenda there.
All right, make a motion to approve the
Oh,
3,100.
wait,
Before, may I?
Go ahead.
As I've suggested before, when we talked about doing work down there, there's certain parameters we're allowed to do work only on the property that we own. And I know I was involved with surveying down there a number of years ago, and I noticed as you go on driving down to it, on the left, there's one granite, and it's supposed to be the stone wall over on the other side. Well, down,
Yeah.
the dock is actually on somebody else's property. A lot of the dock is sitting on top of where the rock wall used to be. Okay, the docks that they shove out there is.
But we'll be doing work to
Yes.
the left of that, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. well,
I
that's
didn't
good
see
to
any
know.
erosion problem. All I see is the frost got underneath the,
You lifted it up, or?
Yeah. yeah.
But you see also in the water, the concrete down in the water, it's moving, it's going down the lake.
We got those from the state. Is there any money from any help from the state that?
No,
Hmm.
you have to get in early, you have to get on their list.
Was that done the last time, do you know?
I'm sorry?
When was it done the last time, do you know?
It's only been done once.
And when was that, do you
Oh,
know?
my.
Long time ago?
Oh, long time.
Okay.
Oh, long.
So this permanent fix, that I guess we'll make a motion on here, but this is gonna be eliminating those concrete blocks and then.
No,
doing a
the
tape
top
or
part,
what?
it's the top part.
Just on the top part, the
Yeah,
concrete piece.
The ones going down are
Stay where
okay,
they
it's
are.
just where it's all buckled. So
And
you
you're
gotta
doing- and you're writing the
smooth that up.
permitting
Yeah, I
for
do
it?
the permit by rule.
Okay.
It's called a permit by rule.
Okay.
All right, make a motion to fix it the long-term way.
Second? Any more discussion? Vote? We'll fix that the long-term way. All right. Presentation on proposed future soccer field.
You missed something.
Did I?
Is that the chairs?
Oh, yeah, don't forget the chairs.
Oh, shoot. Purchase of 32 commercial chairs. Hey, tell us
all
about
that.
those.
All that hard work. there.
Really?
It's chairs.
Brent lost 5 pounds doing that.
The least expensive seemed to be Sam's Club, 32 of them for $699 plus $334 shipping. They're pepper color, which is kind of a grayish black.
Well, that's probably good. I like the red ones on the other side.
I do too, but they're $500 more.
What if you want them sugary color?
Yeah, they come one color. Sam has the one color. Who did this one?
Tom had it. I
And
just thought
these,
everybody want to see what it looks like.
and these chairs were reported to be made in what country?
The US of A.
Thank you.
That's exciting. That's good.
They were assembled in the US.
Out of Chinese parts.
Just said,
There's one. Mr. Trump.
Tom, since this is your project, do you want to?
The only reservation I have about it is not visibly seeing a chair as an example. So taking it on good faith, on the research by our town manager, and the fact that they are made in the United States, and they don't resemble the Chinese-made flimsy chairs that we've had in the past here, that I've had the pleasure of fixing quite a few of them and disposing of the ones that couldn't be fixed. I'll make a motion that we go with the aforementioned ones from, it was Sam's Club.
right. Now, the ones that Tom had looked at, Verco, they're also US made. And the only apparent difference is that the Sam's Club has a reinforcement here, this,
Yeah, that's a good idea.
which the others did not. Other than that, they look identical, and when you read the specs, they seem identical.
Except you can get colors on the other one,
But
right?
it's like anything, anyone who has ordered over the internet, those who are savvy with that, know that you don't always get to, you don't get to see it.
Yeah.
But you get the right of return, I guess.
Paying the shipping, probably, right? 334.
So we did check to see if they could be delivered to Bangor, and then we go pick them up, but they would charge the same. And then we still have to go pick them up, so they might as well be shipped right.
That's exactly right. I'll second that. Further discussion?
No.
Vote. We bought some chairs. All right, now we go to the presentation of the soccer field.
For your minutes for next time, it's not a soccer field. I'm serious, it's not.
Does it say?
Yeah, it says right in the
It's
minutes.
gonna be a multi-purpose field, multi-use
Okay, so we'll
field.
go, okay, it was a multi-purpose field.
Yeah. Yeah, all right.
Yeah.
Now, did you all take a look at the, did you look back here?
No,
No, are they,
Can we gather up front to watch?
It's coming, yeah.
it's coming your way?
Can we come up?
Oh, yeah.
Please, you may approach the bench.
Thank you, sir.
This is exciting. We haven't had visual aids here in like forever. Oh, I love the gazebo.
You have to see it from this side, because you can't see the little,
A little picture.
Oh, can we turn it?
Yep. We'll get it.
There's a engineer firm down in Plymouth, the gentleman works in, lives in Park, and Bob McKelsey. And he was kind enough, he's the Cub Scout leader, he was kind enough to print out the picture for us, and then talking to Jimmy, Ken, and others, we kind of laid it out, but I'll let Jimmy kind of talk about the layout.
Okay, I've got this one from when we bought the property. As you can see, the house, Wells house is still there. But anyway, since we've put this out here and we started clearing and everything, we've got a better look at everything. Because when I presented to the town way back when we bought the property, the soccer field was going to go the long way. Well, there's not enough room over in this area next to the river where it comes in at this angle right here. It's very steep and drainage, so we got to leave that alone. We definitely do not want to touch that. So we've positioned the I call it the soccer field, but you can use it for anything. I know it's sitting, I just
you just told us.
I
to
know
do that.
but it's going to be used for it's going to be used for baseball, softball, frisbee, whatever, anything it can be used for. We've had to change it to this, turning it this way. It will actually, the way we staked it out the other night, would be more up this way, a little bit more this way. And then see the orange stakes. I don't know if anybody can see the orange stakes.
Yeah.
Okay, I've got different pictures if you need to dig those out. So that's what the multi-use field would be, right in that position that way. It's still easily an access road to the dam and a
Yeah,
turnaround.
it would block, there are two roads. It would, the one that we usually use is this one. It would cut this one off. However, you still have this one.
Right, and the snowmobile machine drags can still make the U-turn, whatever.
You also have the ability, if you want, to have head-in parking.
Yeah, you can
Here.
have better parking, another parking
Yeah.
area down there, that would be nice.
Yeah. So anyway, that's what we found out once we got it cleared out and done that on that part of it. On the lower half, going towards the main road as you come in, this cement thing. There's a little bit of a slope to the field down there. I don't know if you can see it in this particular picture. It's tough here, but it does slope down a little bit. So by leaving that there with just natural, as best we can, natural, we can do this, but it costs a lot of money. It was just to give you an idea of what we're looking at.
Right.
What is that for?
It's like an amphitheater.
Right.
So if you had something playing in the
I
gazebo,
see.
people would sit kind of on the curvature of the.
Right. And
That's
it leaves
cool.
it be in this area right here.
I know where it slopes off.
Yeah.
Quite hard, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's bit like towards where the big rock that's permanent and the two big pine trees are there. That's the slope that feeds into this that I just talked about. So it's, again, still trying to leave it so that the water would run and all that. That's what we're looking at. So that again, the gazebo can go there, picnic tables, benches, whatever. Leaving that big rock there, that's there, so kids can play, climb, whatever, is part of that.
Where is the wells, water well and the leach field?
The leach field's approximately right about where that bench is on this. Okay, nobody knows where the well is. We talked to Kelly Jordan.
Suspect it's down in this area.
Yeah, we think it's down in this part,
Oh,
closer to the roadlands, because the leach field's on this side. I might have
So
a
nobody
picture.
had a metal detector or anything, go looking for lead pipes?
George
Well,
Tozer and I are supposed to go down there at some time and try to locate.
Trying to
I
find
know
the
Brent has
location.
metal detector.
And
His
the
metal
dimension
detector.
of this
Yeah, well, but
is,
it's-
it's just the 50 by a
$30.
100, or the 50 by
You
80.
can use it.
The field?
The field? Only 50?
I got it.
I don't know how
Must be
many
more than
are.
that.
It's on,
This would be roughly 250 feet this way and about 100 and,
yeah,
we'll do
right
like-
about
That's
100.
really cool, you
Yeah.
never know.
Now, you're gonna have to bring in some fill on the east side, being the right side, where that slopes off.
on this, but
Right.
Yeah.
but this is a little higher. It's almost like two
Yeah.
levels. This
Yeah.
is the level, the upper shelf, and this is the lower one. So we'll see if we can grade it out what it will be.
This
Does
shows
it-
where you could have a walking trail.
Right.
Yeah, the walking trail idea is a
Yeah.
really cool one. And what were you talking about when the Fish and Game people, or the guy from, who was it, the Parks and Rec guy came,
Yeah.
and
He
there's
was
a
from the state.
possibility of fishing piers out there that you could put people with wheelchairs out onto go
So the
fishing.
kids could go out.
Right, and that,
Yeah.
and stuff.
there's almost a
That was-
natural path now from the beach area over
Yes,
towards the
there is.
dam. There's almost a natural.
And there was, I think, grant money available for that.
Yeah.
So they could go like along this property line. The property line here is pretty tight.
Yeah, it's
There's
pretty
already
tight on
a
that
trail.
other
I
side.
can go this way,
Yeah.
Quite a bit
then
of
down
wetland
here,
over there.
then go through here.
Where you
Oh, right here, this is quite
Oh,
quite a
and then,
wetland
what
right
you
here.
were talking
Yeah,
about
well, you can start
cross-country
right
ski
here. There's already a
trails?
trail right
Yeah.
along
Yeah.
this fence.
Yeah.
I don't know where the property line is.
It's very close to the fence.
Yeah.
I can tell you that.
But the cross-country ski trails would be great in and of themselves.
And the other thing we're looking, like, once we find where that well is, Lance, we want to build a building over here to hold 2 toilets. And use the leach field. So that and then obviously isolate it for the winter. You probably would still have to do a porta potty down here because it's quite a distance to go way up here.
We have outfielders going like this.
Little kids can't hold it.
What's it for?
So do we get to keep this here at the?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
I wonder if they ever filled in the dug well that was out there. Right in this area right here, okay? That's where the original well's pin was, right there. Right in that area, there was a dug well, wide open. And I don't know if that was ever filled or not.
I've never noticed it.
That's
I
where
know
there's-
where that pin is, but I've
That's where
never
those
noticed
kids
it.
are.
I don't know if we filled it when we put the ramp in. For some reason, I thought it was off to the north there a little more, but there was a hand dug well over stoned out.
And this picture here, just so you can get a better idea, this is looking back towards the road, towards the old apartment house,
Yeah.
okay? that building that we're talking about for the bathrooms would be right in this area here on the opposite side of the rock, like between that parking lot that we've built and the rock. Providing you can go there and the well and everything lines up right, that we can do all that. Because you have to be so many feet and blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
So those are the unknowns at this point.
But to my mind, that's the best property in Sangerville right there. That's the best thing we got going for the whole town, is that.
I'm excited about this piece, being a musician. I know what towns, I mean, we're playing at more than a dozen different towns throughout the state this summer, my band is. And people flock to those.
Well, look what Dexter has.
Right.
They got that same thing.
Yeah, and Dexter is one of them we're playing at.
This, by the way, is the one in Greenville.
Okay,
I
yeah.
think Todd.
And
So,
that's-
and the
that's
other
a
thing you'd
good
have to do
size.
is look at where to put power, so you can get power to this for not just my band, but any band or any person. You know, you could even have a family reunion there if you wanted to, and people could do, you know, that's the other thing you could do with this too. People could come in and do family reunions or whatever, class reunions, different things like that they could do, and that's what this could be used for too.
What is your year plan on this? How many years?
We really don't have a plan. We're just trying to pick away as money is available
As
to
as
us.
the free money comes in.
Is this enough to, will this be enough for the Masons?
I think so.
Is this enough for you guys to go forward with your grant or your?
We don't have grant, it comes right out of my pocket.
Well, all right, is this enough for you guys to dig deep and give?
It would be nice if, the next time we discuss this, that we had
Just
this.
tell us what night and I'll be there as long as it's not a school board night. So I
don't-
keep Bill happy.
Well, there's certain procedures we have to do before we allow you into the building.
Okay.
Blindfold and airport.
Oh, yeah.
And I will say Ken is right. It would create parking here. We could isolate a little bit better here for the beach area at night, which I like. Because when we used to, I don't know if you remember, we used to do yard sales to raise money for fundraisers and the basketball. But okay, I had my camper down there just to keep an eye on things overnight. You would not believe the traffic at dark that goes down here.
Oh, yeah.
We're hoping that this area here, in particular, and over into here, we can get the prisons.
Oh, for the
Charleston to limb the lower branches, take out all the pucker brush, so that you can see through
Oh, that'd be nice.
and clear it out so it looks nice.
Is there any particular reason why there has to be a road to the beach? Why couldn't there just be a path?
That's what I would like to see.
Yeah,
To
put
close
some
this
sto- put
off.
some
so that-
stones-
So everything's
stones
a
in
carry
there.
in.
That will eliminate some of the issues.
Well, yeah, we were talking about
What's
just,
going on?
the parking will be up here, and then
Right.
no parking down
Yeah.
there.
And also try to take some of these rocks. There's a couple more big ones along here that are tucked in the woods a little bit that we can use to help block, or just use it as a barrier to help, you know, decorate, whatever you, I call it decorate, but whatever you want to call it, landscaping.
Yeah,
And you could even possibly, instead of doing this, you might be able to put those big rocks there to sit on and watch a show or something if you did it right.
Because I was down through this area here this afternoon because we had a report that someone was camping down there. And there were two cars down here at the beach. I did talk to the fellow, and one girl was in the other one. I talked to the fellow, and he said there was someone camping last week, but
Is that
they're not there now.
inappropriate? Is there any regulation for the town against camping there?
I hope so,
Not that I
Where's
know.
the toileting going on?
yeah.
Put up a sign that says no overnight camping.
Yeah,
No,
I don't
I
know if
know-
there's any regulation
no
against it.
pooping in the
Yeah.
woods.
I know last night we had practice and we walked through here in preparation for the meeting. And if here's the dam is, right here, right about here, someone had like a campfire. Because the ground was.
Now, see, Ron Labonte lives over here, and he frequently talks about that people are lighting fires over in there. Yeah.
If we don't have them, we can have them.
But I mean, if he's able to get the prisoners to do that, that will help your visibility
use
too.
the
Because I
ball
mean, it's a, like I said,
All the
you
way
can
up
just
to
watch
the
the traffic go down. They
Right.
know what they're doing.
if you eliminate that road, they can't get down
Right.
in there.
Right.
Yeah, yeah.
I always
Yeah.
call them the vandals, but
Yeah, well, that's an easy one. Ken can send Pete
Here's-
down with the loader and move those rocks around anytime.
I'd like to make an observation here that the woods along the edge of the stream are covered under I guess.
Shoreline zoning.
Shoreline zoning, thank you.
We're well within our
You are at the
This is
moment.
about, this is like over 200 feet from
Yeah,
there.
well, it needs to be 250 feet.
250.
I believe
Yeah,
that's the
but-
current.
But there is a ruling on that, where you
Dan-
can take 40%.
Yes,
of what's
there is,
there.
but it has to be, you don't just go in and start whacking.
Right.
Oh, no. We learned that anyway.
It's right here, clearing vegetation, the shoreline zone, footage, what we can do and everything else, all right here.
Well, so it's been, all right, I just.
But I talked to George, even before we bought the property, way back when I had my little presentation, I asked George about it, and he said, we're fine.
I just wanted to.
Oh, yeah, no, it's definitely a good point.
I checked the number of feet and stuff like that before anything was done.
Did you tape it?
He's got it right there.
Paste it on.
I'm just being ornery.
No, if you go in there and do stuff you're not supposed to do, you end up with fines.
Yeah,
Serious.
yeah.
And it's
It goes
serious
before the
fines.
appeals board and all that sort of thing, it's not fun.
And Jerry will be upset.
Now, I will ask you this question, just because it's a discussion amongst Jason and myself, and those two pine trees, there's two big pine trees right, if you're looking at it, it'd be to the left of the rock. I don't know if you can see them in that one, but
Field pine.
Yeah,
I don't know whether they should go or stay.
it's my opinion, they ought to go.
You'll probably
Why?
die
Well,
anyway if you've been
there's,
messing with it.
unless they're in the way, there is a, one of the things in planning this is you have to provide shade
These two right here.
for health reasons.
See, that's the big stationary rock, and then these are the two pines.
Now, this would have maple trees along here, et cetera, but
They're in kind of bad shape.
you do have to provide some kind of, provisions for shade and stuff like that.
They are old. We've picked up limbs almost every year there.
But
But,
if
I
they're
mean,
in the way, if they're in the way, they can be, they can
But
be
you
taken
know,
down.
up on the forestry committee, planted all those special kind of hybrid trees there. Maybe if the pine trees went, some of the fabulous trees could come down and, not the chestnuts because they'd have the little prickly things, but some of those great trees that could be
They're bigger than
transplanted
twigs.
down. Well, they must be bigger, they're 2 years on, they ought to be maybe that tall.
Well, why don't you check with
and I don't know, is Blaine still sawing? Anybody know?
Cynthia, they might still have a few left
I
over.
don't know, right.
That's true, they might have a few, but we don't want the chestnuts because they
No,
have.
the chestnuts are all planted.
Okay,
I thought they were pasture, what I call pasture pine. Large
Yeah.
limbs right to the ground.
Yeah,
Yeah, they're field.
Make
field,
beams,
uh,
that's
white
all they're
pine.
good for.
okay, I didn't know if they'd be worth anything that way.
They'd make a quick fire.
Yeah,
They
I
attract
get
light.
struck by lightning.
the market, pine market now is
Okay.
non-existent.
Yeah.
Well, you remember when we took these ones out,
Yep,
he took them.
yep.
Yeah, but that was how long
Well,
ago?
those were very nice.
Yeah, but how long ago was that?
Well, I was a lot younger. Okay, I was a lot younger.
Okay,
Personally, since they're so big and kind of out of place too, I'd rather maybe take out the tree or whatever, or at least clean them up and just start with some small trees.
Yeah, I like that idea too. Then it gives you the barrier between,
Yeah.
And they certainly won't, the newer ones won't be shaded.
and it gives you more room to tuck that
Because they're on the
gazebo
south
this
side
way.
of the-
Maybe less footage.
You're doing it, cut 'em.
maybe there would be somebody who would donate some nice apple trees or something that would actually eat the fruit, if all the children could eat the apples, how beautiful would that be?
Well, the apples will draw the deer, too.
Oh, well, what, oh, then they will have gunplay down there, we don't want that.
No,
Melissa, to move this forward, we have some motions that we'll need to.
Okay, tell me what we
Just
need
one
to
last quick thing. One of the things that helps us from Pirate Rec standpoint is when we have soccer, obviously it's in the fall, it's like mid-August through, late October. The daylight saving time gets really tough to have practice in during the week because by 5:30, 6 o'clock, it's getting dark. So this allows us, one, to kind of have two fields. We'll continue to use our current field, the crossed outfield, then use this. So that gives us a big advantage. The other thing it does is when we do baseball, now we can use this kind of as a little bit for baseball for like overflow practice and stuff. But then the rest of the year it's just open and we can keep soccer goals there or whatever. And families can come and go to the picnic tables and stuff, so it can just be there.
So Jason, well, let me understand, we talked about this a little bit before about supposed regulation size when it's used as a soccer field. I mean, are
Right,
we
I think
worried
like a
about
high
any
school-
restrictions about that, or that's?
I
we're
think
not
for
gonna
a
be
rec
playing
standpoint,
fancy
we're okay.
tournaments?
Yeah.
We're pretty
good
close
on
to
that
what they
side.
recommend, what they call 12U, is
Yeah.
12 years old and under.
Yeah.
So we're pretty close to that,
Okay.
we're within 90% of.
U10 is 50 by 80, a U12 is 50 by 100.
So,
Yeah, we're seeing, yeah.
The soccer field dimensions and layout that are required by age.
Yeah.
I really appreciate the plan.
One other quick point.
Okay.
Just read it up.
Yeah.
The other thing it does is we can have tournaments here on the weekends in the fall.
Yeah.
Now with one field, we're here like 10 hours. We can't do round robins. This allows us to have younger kids here and older
Yeah.
kids over there, so we can kind of do a better
Yeah.
soccer program. So.
Looks like a good plan. Okay. I've been using that field since I was 5 or 6 years old. Okay. So it's good to see a plan. It's really encouraging to see young people down there using it. We just have to make sure that we have a plan that it is the select board, okay, that governs for the people of the town of Sangerville how we proceed with this. Okay. So I'm just encouraging people not to go off on their own and pursue things without the board's knowledge. Okay. And I don't say that to offend anybody. It's very important that we work together.
Proper chain of control.
Yeah.
Well, that's the whole point of what we just went through.
Yeah.
Right, we want to
Well,
make sure that all the bills get
Yeah.
paid.
Yeah.
So we know what they're,
Well, it stirs up a lot of commotion if it,
yep.
and
Hey,
we
you
don't
can't
need that.
move a bucket full of dirt in this town without certain people being right
I know,
there.
I know, and this is, we just dealt with it with the winter sand, okay? And if we follow
I
proper.
twitch when I hear the word sand.
Oh, yes, yes. Well, it just makes life easier for you people.
Right.
Anybody could
So,
study that and see what.
Okay.
What do you need us to do?
Okay. What I need would be an authorization for a volunteer Class A operator to use the town's bulldozer and while using it to be on the town payroll for $1 a day, so as a town employee, to rough grade the area. The area needs to be rough graded.
So moved.
Do you have a classification to do that?
Class A, because he's got to move it.
Oh, I see.
He's got to move
This
it.
will save the town some money to bring it from the town
Right, the
public works
transport.
directly to the field.
Okay.
The gentleman is a baseball dad, Charles McCusick, son of one of the
Oh,
McCusick.
well, yeah, I guess he
So
could do
we-
it then, right?
And he's all, if Peter can put it on the trailer and hitch it up, he'll move it down there and do all that stuff and bring it back.
so now the transport driver has a Class A CDL license to haul that piece of equipment for the weight rating that it is, plus he's also going to be the same operator of the equipment, the bulldozer, to do the rough grading.
Right.
Okay,
But-
all right.
That's the motion.
The only other part, to add to that, there's another gentleman that's qualified, he works for Hara Construction, but he's qualified to use the bulldozer, but he can't transport it. Both of them would want to do it because of their schedules, they would kind of take.
We've got a
turns on
couple
it.
of masons that have a Class A that can move the dozer.
For free?
Right, in Sangerville. I can't speak for them.
No.
And I'm not about to.
Okay,
No.
all right, so the motion was,
What he wrote down there, the class.
Authorize a Class A operator to use the town bulldozer to rough grade
into transport.
the area and to be on the town's payroll for $1 a day. So covered by our liability
Yeah.
Insurance.
insurance.
Anything else, John?
No?
No.
That covers two people to use
Pardon?
that covers two people to do the bulldozer?
Yeah, let's make sure that.
The thing is misleading.
Yeah, it's-
However many people it takes to get the job done, as long as they're on $1 a day and we've got them covered with the insurance.
The motion, to me, would be misleading. That's why I asked you, does the bulldozer operator have to be Class A?
I've never heard of
There's
that.
no
No.
such thing as a
But
bulldozer.
that's the way it sounds to me,
Yeah, well, it's-
okay?
Purpose was, we weren't going to hire someone, we weren't going to, well, not hiring, the person's volunteering, but they had to be a Class A in order, because it has to be moved.
Yeah,
It's part of the operation.
Yes, that's where
Has
the
to be
motion.
moved by a Class A operator, and then whoever they choose for the
whoever
bulldozer
the
operator.
qualified operators
Qualified
are.
operator is at the discretion of,
But the word volunteer being in there versus the $1 a day wage is a little bit of a conflict to me.
Well, that's to get them
Well, I
on
just,
common
yeah, I
insurance.
wanted to make sure,
They're a town employee for that time that they're working, so they're covered by,
I'll fix up the motion.
okay. Can we make a vote now,
My
Tom?
usual.
Yeah, okay, let's go for a vote.
Let's vote, okay.
Okay,
Pass, all
2-0.
right, all right, let's move this on.
Okay, then, to let you know that the next step, when that's done, is that the, has to be some topsoil brought in, regraded, and then hydro-seeded. Now, the hydro-seed, just for clarification, is only gonna be for the field.
Right.
So the town
Right.
needs to seed the area that's outside this.
Right. Because the hydro seed obviously is a better quality seed and, you know.
Okay, so just so you
Do you have money
understand.
for that in your rec budget?
To what now? To which one?
Seed outside of the soccer?
Yeah, I was gonna say that, but again, without.
I've got $350 left over.
Okay. Well, we'll go forward
Let
with
me
him.
just say something about the loan, all right? 'Cause
The loan?
The loan. Loan,
Loan?
both terms
Loan.
are correct. Peter bought some from Haley, and it was $18.75 a cubic yard. So it can get run into some money.
In place. That's not moved.
That was, we picked it up.
We have to pay to move it.
We're not paying for topsoil, we're not paying for regrading,
Hmm.
and we're not paying for hydro seed.
Well, I
So
just
I don't
want
care what it
like
costs.
Melissa said, I just want to stay within the
Yeah.
budgetary constraints
Yeah.
of what we're going to spend here.
Yeah.
It's all good and everything,
Worst
but
comes to worst, we go down to the Newt farm or something like that and beg for their old hay and sprinkle that liberally around and something will start to grow.
What we're paying for is the $1 a day,
yeah.
and we're gonna have to seed the area that will
Which I've got.
broadcast
And even
seed.
if the dollar a day has to come out of my budget, I don't care. I'll take it out of my personal.
But the
Okay.
next step, the hydro seeding, which would require some regrading, smooth it all up, and some topsoil, that's combination of volunteer and if we get money from the Masons, if there's a cost involved, but it's not at the cost of the town.
Okay, the best case scenario for what gets done for the remainder of this fiscal year on spending monies down there are these projects that we're talking about. We're not going to end up with a gazebo down there. We're not going to end up with
Unless someone gave us one.
buildings, for the toilets set
We'll
up.
take
all
any
of the-
freebies, Tom.
Well, yeah, I mean, I could, yeah, and here
We're
again,
not
the
paying for
Masons
anything,
and
yeah.
I think, Jason, you mentioned something,
I
the
think there
credit
was-
union
The
plus.
credit union was sort of on board, Key Bank wanted
Key
to
Bank,
participate
yeah,
in the
good,
project.
okay.
I was
And we-
hoping to reach out to
we gotta-
Camden National and Bangor Savings.
All right, we all have to stay
Yeah, if you
inside
want.
this loop here of knowing what's going on. So if we get to this point, get after this point of the seeding and whatnot, then we can move on to something else. If the monies, donated monies especially, are available, aren't going to come out of, they can't come out of the town. You only got $350 left in the account. So, but if free money, so-called free money comes in from Masons, Key Bank, Credit Union, to get more stuff done this year, then I have no problem with that. But as far as
Would
what
we be
can
committed to
spend-
put a sign there for a certain period of time, say this park or whatever you want to call it was made possible by these community
Sure.
businesses?
Whatever it takes to
yeah.
get the money
You
out
know,
of there,
just
yeah.
something like that?
Yeah.
It has a name, I put the name
It's
That's
veterans,
on
veterans.
there.
Yeah,
I put a nice picture,
Right,
right.
the wind was blowing just right, so the flag was,
That probably would be appropriate because when
Mm-hmm.
the taxpayers see things being done there,
They get
they're already
excited.
going to,
Yeah.
they're spending our money. Wow.
yeah.
It's no different than the school budget. I'm here to tell you.
That's right,
They don't know.
that's
They
right.
don't go to the meetings.
Okay.
Okay.
So we have that.
So we good?
done.
We're
We're
done.
done. Vote. Yep.
All right, let's go.
Just a quick question. I also in the rec, and this is still out there for the future reference, but we have the reserve account. How is that supposed to get used? We've used that to hot top the basketball court. We've done that with a couple of fence projects over the years. If we get to a point where we find a gazebo, say for $2,000, I'm just throwing this figure out there, I don't care, I don't know what it costs, just for future references. Say next year we want to do a gazebo.
Yeah.
Can
Town
we use
vote.
that money?
Town vote.
No.
There's something different about that.
When you have a reserve
That's
account,
changed.
it should be, it's supposed to be by a vote of the board,
And it
as
was
long as
in-
it's for the purpose of the account. So if it's anything to do with the rec field, it should be You come to the
So
board, you
you're
ask,
saying
and,
it doesn't require a town vote?
Because there
No.
was an
Reserve.
article in the Maine Townsman about that.
right, you can spend to the purpose of the account,
Yeah.
Isn't there an upper limit on how much you can spend?
which frees up $2,500 of road improvement money. Let me point that out to you right now.
Well,
But anyway,
Okay.
I'm just asking, you know,
Yeah, well, if it's possible to do it and to make a really good purchase at a really good price that, you know. when-
I mean,
And you can find
you
that
still gotta
in the
look, Tom, to see what
treasurer's,
Central Maine's gonna
and
charge us
tax
for power to get
collector's
over to that
manual.
side of the
and I can find the page in
roadway.
there
Yeah.
that says that.
You know,
It
when
says
I-
it right in the treasurer's and tax.
Might have to use that money for that for a
Because we
couple
went
of
through this
years.
about 3 years ago.
You know, I'm just saying out loud, I don't know how that all.
So, but nothing gets done unless everybody
Oh, absolutely,
knows.
absolutely.
Well, we
What
all
is
know
the
that we're
wording
being
of
closely
the-
watched. Everybody's got that firmly in their head at this point.
Okay,
Yeah.
well, good. And thank you guys for all the hard work and setting that up. Good presentation.
I'll have to move that out of here because we have an election coming up, but then you can,
Lance,
well, keep it together so you can use it like with the Masons and stuff.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you. I was just wondering what the wording of that reserve account is. Okay? Is
Just
it
says-
recreation reserve? And
Hang on,
if it says
I'll-
recreation
For
reserve,
the town report.
what do you consider recreation?
well, since there's not, it would be up to our discretion, right? You know what discretion. Capital outlay, yeah. Parks and recreation is what it's called this past year.
Okay, parks and recreation.
Parks and
Okay, that
recreation.
gives you more latitude.
That certainly does.
Yeah, it does.
Love
But
that.
was it changed to parks and recreation?
You know, we've had this ongoing thing going with the auditor for several years. I have had this ongoing thing going with her. Because there is a fire department equipment reserve, there's a fire department truck reserve, and there's a firehouse reserve. And they're all mixed up together.
Yeah, we at one time did away with the equipment reserve because it kept getting robbed. The
Yeah.
fire truck account kept getting robbed for a multitude of other things. That's why we changed it just to the fire truck reserve account.
So,
I just call it recreation.
Yeah, it says recreation.
$5,345.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
So you have to determine what recreation is. Okay,
Well, it's gonna be
recreation.
used for recreation.
Recreation would have been written, putting a power line in.
Well, everything that comes under that account for the recreation field area, that
okay, we've had enough recreation for one night.
All
Yeah.
right,
Let's
thanks.
move
I feel
on.
like I've recreated.
I've recreated all over the place tonight. Let's move on to
Cemetery
E,
deed.
cemetery deeds.
You have a cemetery deed to sign. So it's to convey, what's the motion say?
Either that or-
Conveys to-
Find a place for
Parker and
Sangerville
Deborah.
conveys to Parker and Deborah Reardon, cemetery deed, etc. Blah, blah, blah. Just need a motion.
Motion to go ahead and do the conveyance.
Second. Discussion.
Nope.
Vote.
Sign.
Sign.
That's yours.
Thanks for coming.
No problem, you're welcome. Just try to stir things up a little bit.
It gets dull without
I
you.
get him.
Very good plan.
Get him going easy.
Thanks, Bill.
Selectmen sign here. See that? Okay.
Okay.
You go wood shop.
Retired wood shop.
Yeah, and I'm a gentleman wood shop.
There you go.
I go when I want.
All right, moving to
Road
road issues. A, schedule of special select board meetings open to 2016 paving bids.
Okay, now, normally, we would have opened the bids at the regular meeting, which would be the 14th, the second Tuesday, and the bids are due that afternoon.
Voting day.
But the voting thing changed our schedule. So I'm suggesting that we have a special select board meeting the following day, June 15, to open the road paving bids and award a contract. Now the question is, this would say 10 o'clock.
Yeah.
My concern is Dale, who works during the day.
Yeah, well, he got out before. He got out last week. He actually enjoyed
Okay.
it, actually.
Okay, all right. So I would say that we have a special, I'm calling for is a special select board meeting on June 15th at 10 a.m. in the Town Hall Community Room.
What time does
for
he
road
get done?
paving, bid opening, and award of
What
contract.
time does he get done work? 4 or 5?
4 or 5, yeah.
Well, let's make the motion to do it at 10, and if he can't make it, then
That'd
whenever he gets
4
out of work.
o'clock or something, yeah.
Whenever he gets out of work,
Okay.
right down.
So the bids are due to be in by, what, 5 o'clock on the 14th?
The bids are due,
I think it was.
that's winter sand, roadside mowing, road paving. June 14th, 6, no, that's the meeting. 3 p.m.
3? Oh, okay. All right.
You second?
Yep, I'll second that.
Vote?
So
We passed it.
10,
So whenever he decides
10
what time he
or
wants to do it.
4-ish,
10 or 4-ish.
depending on Dale.
Yep,
Yeah,
can
we're
work
good
on
with that. Moving on to winter salts. I kind of feel bad that Dale's not here to concur with me on this one.
Okay, winter salt.
Are we in that pool again this year for purchase of the salt?
Not that I know of.
And what's the price per ton this year?
Don't know.
60, 62 or $63 a ton.
See, we didn't salt. Oh, yeah.
The only reason I've asked
Oh,
for
wait a
this to be on the agenda was because I know there's a lot of people that don't live in the village that are upset about the fact that they get straight salt in the village, and that the salt then consequently has not been mixed as heavy in the sand pile
Yeah, I've
for
heard
the
that.
remainder of the town.
Heard that from the contract.
And I also think there's a benefit to having one sand pile, salt pile for everybody, in that if there's a problem with the salt sand pile, that the Public Works Department is feeling the pain the same as the contractor is. And
Okay.
we can't run straight salt on gravel roads. So I would like to see us figure out what the ratio is that Guilford and Dover are running. We do the same thing and everybody runs the same mix.
Well, you're not advocating no separate salt pile.
I think there should be a separate salt shed and a salt, because occasionally they
Hot
do.
loads need to be
Absolutely,
administered.
absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. There should be a salt in the salt shed.
Yeah.
But for the bulk of it,
All right.
everybody runs the same thing.
Okay, so all town roads receive the same salt, sand.
And it should be
Mixture.
the same mixture as Guilford and Dover are running. Whatever they run, we should do the same thing. Because that also has been a painful issue.
If I could just ask the town manager, being the only one present that went to one of the last road
Right, they said 10%.
I actually am feeling
10%.
I'm feeling relief that Bill left, because Bill was one of the proponents of, straight salt in town.
Yeah.
But what the state wants to do and what we can afford to do and what is politically acceptable here, the state doesn't know.
All right, do we want to make this decision without,
I know Dale agrees with me.
I'm
'Cause we sat- we
talking
talked-
about Public Works being present, because I don't know if he has.
I know he disagrees. I know he disagrees on that. He wants to run salt in town. But that's one of the things that gets him in trouble. And I think we're doing him a favor by saying this.
Okay, who made the motion?
He can be mad at me. He'll get over it.
So the motion is to run the
All
same
town roads
mixture
receive the same salt sand
ratio
mixture as Dover
in
and
town,
Guilford.
out of town.
All town roads.
But we will still keep a
separate
separate salt
salt
pile
pile
in
that-
salt shed for hot loads.
Well, I mean, your Hotel Hill's gonna need
Yeah,
it,
yeah.
things like that.
Okay, yeah, I'm good with that.
Any further discussion?
Nope.
Vote? Done. We ended to do that last year, but we couldn't do it.
What I would like to investigate is usually we've been in a pool in the past of bulk purchases of salt. And that's why we've always gotten that really good price of low six.
Yeah.
I'm sure we're still in that.
What was the
somewhere.
name of the outfit?
That's all we did with the state.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I got the stuff from the state and I sent it on to Peter.
I don't remember the name of the outfit, but whatever. We need it, we're gonna have it.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Ready for the next one?
Next.
All right, the Gray Road.
The Gray Road. This is called, what I call the Gray Road Extension.
Oh, this one is, okay.
And
And that is between what's his name's driveway that we can't say over.
And what's his name? What's his name?
Who is it and what's his name?
We can't say a certain name here.
what I'm recommending is that this year, any work on the Gray Road beyond
Mr. Lentini's.
Mr. Lantini's driveway, that be limited to ditching and the 3 culverts. One of the 3 culverts would be moved east a bit so that it spills in between the 2 fields of Cleves, and that the ditching go from Lantini's driveway to the crest of the hill.
And that's how many feet beyond the proposed
And
new
that
turnaround?
would be 16 plus 600, would be 2,200 feet.
Now, when you say the crest of the hill, help me with that.
Pardon?
When you say the crest of the hill, help me with what you mean there. How many feet is it? Because I always said from Chick's driveway to mine is 1,600 feet.
600 beyond.
Right, and then another 600 feet beyond, to the
Down over the
roughly,
hill.
not down over the hill, to the, roughly to the crest of the hill.
Is that 600? That's too much, isn't it?
Yeah, it seems like it'd be down over your hill then.
That's substantially beyond my driveway.
Well, I'm not exactly sure where the crest is. It's
About 100 feet beyond my driveway. But it isn't to the opening to the, what we call the Dave Cleves place, where there used to be a house
Right.
on the south side of the road.
Well,
But 600 feet takes it way down the hill.
I have it at 45 degrees, 8 minutes and 58 seconds. That's
Oh.
69 degrees, 19
Well,
minutes
I
and
would have to get my GPS.
seconds.
But I've lived there for a while.
And that's
Put a big old stake in the
That's
ground
about
so we can all look
600
at
feet.
it.
It's easier to shorten it than it is to lengthen it.
Okay.
Okay.
And
And
then I'm
then
gonna take out my flower garden.
your flower garden.
That's happened before, you know.
He
That's
has
gonna
a
be the-
history.
Burned it one year.
I've had that happen before. Lance was not happy. You don't want to be on the end of that yet, I tell you.
And then Mr. Cleves would cut on the south side.
Is he gonna take all the trees out?
I don't know exactly how many.
Is that an optional point for this year's work? Basically, we're
But he would
considering
be doing
the
that.
ditching.
He would be doing that. What
And
we're
the culverts.
doing would be the ditching
Okay.
and the culverts.
And I've talked to what's his name, and we've also discussed the trees on the north side.
Oh,
Okay, so he and I already discussed that,
Okay.
because there's gonna have to be some ditching on that side that his firewood trees interfere with.
Yep.
So, we're gonna do that.
Okay.
no cost to the
So
town.
it's roughly 2,200 feet.
And you got a cost on this?
We have a cost for 1,600 feet of an excavator at 2,600.
Okay.
So, and in the extension of the extension, that is
That's right.
from the unnamed driveway to the crest of the hill, nothing would be done to the road now or next year even.
No gravel hauled in
No
there?
gravel hauled in there,
But-
nothing done to the road, it's only ditching,
Ditching
no
and-
culverts or anything else.
So you're gonna need me to cut some wood there.
Yes, please.
But you're not doing the culverts up in there?
No,
So the culverts are on the lower section?
or in the lower section, there are 3 of them, and one of them would be moved a bit.
And that is, it would be in the existing section of road,
Yeah.
correct?
Yes,
Okay.
Can
And the
it,
culverts are gonna cost what? $900?
$900.
Okay.
will the trees that the Cleves farm will take out on that other side do you think that's gonna give you a chance to dry that road out a little bit better? For
I
next
doubt it
month's
very
season?
much because
Not
there
a
are large
lot.
oaks along there,
Yeah.
okay? And they're gonna shade a lot. There's a lot of oaks down through there that they aren't gonna be taking.
Yeah.
Okay. And I would suggest if you're gonna do ditching, that you set a little more to the north if you can. Get something with some size that you can move some material. Because I don't mind crowding my side big time. I don't have a problem. You can have the soil. I know that's an issue. The wood and the soil. The wood and the soil belong to the landowner.
Yep.
Okay? You can have all the soil you want. Okay? You can set that bank back all you want to. There's no way you're gonna get a 3-to-1 slope on that bank. I've heard certain engineers talking about it. You gotta have
Oh, dear.
a 3-to-1 slope, and I said, they ain't gonna get it. You'd have to move huge amounts of material.
Yeah, let's say right now, we're not rocking anything either.
You're not doing anything?
We're not rocking anything.
Cribbing.
Cribbing. Cribbing has been an issue around.
Really?
Riprap.
Really?
Yes.
Yes, putting a man in a ditch with stones and setting them all nicely
Well-
on edge.
There isn't enough slope there to even consider riprap.
So we're not even talking about that.
Well, that person learned for the riprapping what the flow rate had to be.
Oh, that's right. You did find that out. Yes, that's right. Okay, we're good. We're good.
That's
We're
why I
good.
say it.
We're good.
That took care of that, so you got educated.
Just an educational thing here. 2 years ago, they went over on the bottom side of Silver's Mills, right on the Dexter side. They did the ditching, they did all that nice
Guys in the
riprap in
dishes.
there.
Yeah.
Rocks in.
Riprap and ripped right out.
Oh, has it? But they did a nice,
Re-ditched,
oh, it looked
they
nice.
re-ditched, all they did was-
Reditched, they seeded it, and they left it. They didn't rip wrap anything.
They just riprap right around the culvert.
Okay.
So this is gonna happen this summer,
Yes, and I will try to see if we can get Jim Bennett.
does a tremendous job.
Well,
Everyone has recommended.
as long as we get this done by the time the snow flies, we're good. So if it's not immediate, if Peter's busy prepping the
Yep.
paving,
Well, I got
but,
things to do before
right.
he shows up.
So you're good with coordinating with Ken and, All right.
Now, do we have a motion?
Tom, you wanna make it?
Yeah. Motion to go ahead and...
Don't get too enthusiastic.
Well, no, it's just...
Excuse me, Tom, before you go ahead, back in the discussion stage, even though you haven't made a motion yet. I hasten back to 1995, the motion that was made that road was,
It's illegal.
I know it, but should we rescind that? Should we rescind that before they make a motion to do something on that
It
road?
isn't worth the paper it's written on.
Okay,
Never
I'm trying to
recorded.
protect,
We went through this,
He's our,
we went through this before. This
Yeah.
was brought to the board.
somebody wanted us to rescind something.
They actually
before.
tabled it. They wanted more research done on it.
yes,
Oh.
And
I was there.
and I still cannot find anything other than from stem to stern. Flanders Hill to Flanders Hill is
That's
a
right.
town way.
Okay,
But the only thing is, I still go back to the whole, I have this terrible angst when you say the word town way. Because when you say town way, by state law, there's maintenance standards. And we should never refer to any road around here other than a public easement.
The-
Because-
The only thing that says what a town way has to, the state only says has to be accessible.
Yeah.
It doesn't say how
300
wide it has to be, it doesn't say anything about that. The
That's-
town has a 1982 ordinance.
Which isn't worth the paper it's written on because you,
There are no town roads that
Right.
meet that standard anyway.
and really, the whole thing could be settled very quickly at the next town meeting, just putting where feasible at the end of that ordinance.
Hmm.
You know? It would solve the whole thing. We would love to do this if we could.
Now, you may at some point decide to discontinue a portion of the Gray Road. But that would have to go to a town meeting,
Right.
Okay.
Um,
all right?
I make a motion that on the so-called Gray Road extension, that the proper amount of specified ditching is done and 3 culverts are done. And
That's it.
Oh, and done before the snow flies.
Yeah.
That
Second.
could be in September.
It could be tomorrow, it's supposed to, there's a possibility that it could snow in Greenville.
Get your snow fires
Second,
done.
so vote.
Okay,
Okay,
2-0.
done.
Go ahead
Okay.
and do it.
Now, the road committee has made a recommendation that the lower area, the 500 feet between the crests of the two first hills on the Gray Road, that area, whatever we decide to do, whether it's to take out the gravel that's there and put back proper gravel and fabric, or build on top, and it seems, well, I think the leaning is to take out what's there and rebuild it. That not be done until next year when it can be included in the budget, since there is no money in the budget this year.
And the estimated cost was somewhere around,
27 to 30,000.
which we haven't budgeted for this year.
And the
So
only
you want
way-
that to ride alone on its own warrant article next year? Or do you want it to be?
No, I think we can include it in the
Part of-
Public Works budget.
Okay.
Lance?
Yeah, yeah.
I got a hand up. Right.
He was scratching.
No, he wasn't looking at you. I appreciate the look forward, I really do. I remember at least 3 times when I was on the board, people on gravel roads had severe problems as we've had, and we always addressed it promptly. Now, at the time, we had funds available for emergency situations, and I don't know, I had heard some rumors that the road committee may have been misled in saying that there wasn't a time that the road was impassable up there in that area. And
Yes, you're right.
and that's not the case. People had to park their cars and walk in. I had to go retrieve somebody. My neighbor here, Mr. Lentini, called me one morning when I was right with Ken.
Yeah.
And he was asking, which vehicle should I try to come out through with? And I said, not your car. Okay? So it looks also innocent when you go up there now, but I'm telling you, it changes extremely fast. Okay? And people got to be able to get in and out of their house with their vehicles, and emergency vehicles, and the school bus. And that's another thing we've got to address, is where do you want the turnaround for? You know, I mentioned at the end of my driveway, how big does it have to be? Because when the excavator's there, and if I have to cut some trees, and I've got to know exactly where we want that. So I need some.
Well, I thought we had a consensus that you were going to donate a right-of-way
Yes.
easement
I will.
for the
but I
town
need to know
for
how
turning
big
it
it
where
needs
it
to be.
is.
Okay, I need somebody.
That's for Ken to determine.
Yeah, I need
You work
somebody
with Ken on that one.
Yeah,
Okay.
to help me with,
Yeah.
you know, what I've got to cut there and how much material we got to move.
We don't want this done by
Thanks,
committee. You and Ken do it,
Yeah.
because that way, because there's gonna be, then there's remember, you get too many people with their mouth in and it leads to a trouble, so.
See, the only way we could fix the Gray Road this year would be to take it out of paving.
Mhm.
Don't
Road
lose that.
improvement.
Right. Well,
Road improvement.
Well,
all
if we-
paving comes out of road improvement.
Yeah, but.
And it is, I understand,
Yeah, you understand what I'm gonna tell you?
yes.
I've been there many times.
The gravel roads are classified as a road.
That's right. And that would be an
It
improvement.
would be, but it would cut drastically the paving.
It'd take a third of a mile away from you.
Yeah.
I'm anxious to see the bids, by the way,
So am I.
Be there.
because I hear that the pavement price is down.
So have I. I've heard that
Okay.
too.
And there's a lot of people who want paving done because the price is down. So I'm wondering.
See, that's why it killed me when they whacked, we wanted to take, there was a $30,000 carry forward. If we'd have had that carry, if they'd have left us keep the carry forward,
Yeah, we
you'd be in
had the money.
business.
Yeah.
You'd be in business up there. But they took that away from
Well,
us.
you know, if it were me in your situation, and we came through with extremely low bids, okay, for paving, I might even consider going back to the town and explaining the situation and saying, hey, the bids are extremely low this year, okay, we've got a chance to do more work for less money. I wouldn't hesitate to make that argument. There are going to be people that'd be upset, but they may think it adversely affects their pocket, but on the contrary.
Exactly. Any bit of work that we can get done saves you money in the long run.
Well, none of that money that we lost is what we call a carryover. It does not affect the property taxes this year. Now, what we put in for next year will affect the property taxes. You know, when we see what the bids are, we want to do a mile,
You
right?
gotta do a mile, you know the whole argument with the mile a year.
So-
And we should be graveling 4 miles a year, and we're not doing that either.
So, you know, if the bids were so good that we could do a mile and we had enough to do, the thing is, we cannot do half of this job.
No,
It's-
well, obviously,
Unfortunately,
Yes.
we can't pour something on top of what's there.
no.
You can't take out half of what's, I mean, you gotta take it all out and replace it all with course and then fines, you know, with the fabric.
Yeah.
You know, in regards to the paving costs being down, we don't have $30 a gallon oil anymore. The prices are starting to go back up. They're $42, $44 a barrel. And it's going to be a little bit of a lag before it affects what the material is, but it's...
So you could decide, you could hold off anything on the lower end of Gray Road until we see what the paving.
Yeah, I
bids
mean,
are.
that's always, we can always do it at any
Yeah,
time.
yeah.
I mean,
Okay.
but that would necessitate you getting your people out, you know, because there is that contingent, you know, that is,
Well, he's not talking about, you're talking about having a special town.
right, there's special, there's gotta be enough to carry it.
Yeah.
Well, I'm talking about if the bids were really low, we could do a mile and there's enough money
Yeah.
to do
Yeah,
this.
you wouldn't
Right,
need, you
right.
wouldn't need
I
that.
wouldn't, yeah.
Right,
We'll
can't.
have to wait and see what the
can't
bids
hold
are.
Yeah, let's wait and see what the bids are.
Yep.
We don't have to make a decision. I'm just saying what the road committee has recommended.
I know from talking to certain people, honestly, that there's resistance to spending that much money up there in some places. But,
Well, you can't get there from here.
exactly, and that's
Okay.
just, and I'm with you on we need to do it. I think all three of us
People
on,
need to be able to drive.
absolutely, right.
When we first were up there, it wasn't an issue, but what has happened is that the fines from underneath the road have come up and contaminated, and we keep putting stuff on it, we've done it at least 3 times, putting material, and the fines come up, and it's just creating,
Pudding,
yeah,
Just make the mud deeper, the mud bike.
I mean, you drop right to the frame with my pickup.
That's
Right,
right.
right.
All gonna be taken
no, it
out.
has to, you guys pay your taxes, you deserve a decent road to drive on, absolutely, you know,
Yes,
Yeah.
right,
right.
thank you.
No, you know
The
that's,
road committee felt that way.
We don't want to move out.
We did.
No, the
Right.
road committee felt that you needed to have a good road to drive.
Well,
But we couldn't.
They weren't opposed to the project, it's, where are we getting the money from?
there's a certain contingent that their feeling is always do the minimum. But when you do the minimum and you put off, you pay more money down the
I've
road.
always been a proponent of doing it and doing it right. And there are people in this town that stink like crazy,
Tell me that.
spending too much money, but you do it right, and then you don't have to go back
Right,
several years from now.
yep.
Okay?
Right.
So we're really just prolonging this, but we're just patching the paving, actually. We've been doing 4 miles for 6 years, and we haven't even got the finish coat on.
Nope, we get a lot of it.
And
We
so
haven't
it's
put
all
the-
cracking
We've got the
and-
bona fide binder, but we haven't got the finish
Yeah,
on it.
absolutely.
And it's only, as I recall, there was only several years that you had that you lost the
Okay.
bona fide binder.
Reports, do you want to go through the reports?
Do that.
Okay, consent items. Make a motion to approve item 87, 88, 89, 90, 91, 92, 93, 94, 95, and 96.
Yep, second,
Discussion,
none?
vote,
Yep.
2-0. Abatements and supplements, none. Executive session, none. Adjournment, make a motion to adjourn at 8:10.
Second,
Vote, we're out.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
So,
thank you.
Ken, if you need anything, give me a call.
okay, thanks.
Wise guy. Shut that thing off.
Here, take the